Hey there, Doughboy here, and I have been watching intently every showcase at E3, and there will be more videos to come. But today on Hardcore Academy, I want to talk about the game that I was most anticipating at E3. And that is, of course, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. I went into E3 knowing about the showing of the 6-minute long trailer for MGS5, but I was surprised to see an additional 1.5 minute long trailer. The first trailer starts with what appears to be Mother Base or a Diamond Dogs base somewhere, and it appears that everyone has been slaughtered. And as Big Boss walks through the halls, passing the bodies of his fallen soldiers, he slowly changes from the Snake we know into the demonic-looking Venom Snake, the piece of shrapnel in his head growing from scene to scene as it pushes its way out of his skull, and his face gets progressively more and more bloody as he goes through the transformation from hero into villain. And as he walks through the halls, you hear the voice of Skullface talking about how his language and his homeland was taken from him. Then as we see the images of things revealed in past trailers, we hear Kaz speak, talking about how everything was taken from Skullface. Then we hear a new unknown voice, as we see images of Code Talker and Snake with what looks to be a peace pipe. And we see Kaz remove his glasses to reveal that he could be blind. Or perhaps my theory is, since his eyes look similar to Code Talker's, perhaps Code Talker has the ability to control others, or look through the eyes of others, and work as kind of a spy. Then we hear another voice that I am certain is that of Zero or Cypher, talking about how he found a way to make the world that the boss envisioned finally become a reality, as you see an AI pod from Peace Walker. If I had to guess, I would say that this AI pod is the boss's AI from Peace Walker. Then we see something a bit confusing to me. Paz appears in the trailer, as if she is in some kind of trance, staring off into space. This is confusing because Paz died at the end of Ground Zeroes, when a bomb went off in her womb, which caused the helicopter that Big Boss was in to crash and put him into a 9-year coma. So I don't know how she has returned in the Phantom Pain. Perhaps she was a clone that was created by Cypher to do a job, and perhaps he has more than one Paz stuffed in a storehouse, like Alice from the Resident Evil movies. Or maybe it's just a flashback scene, because the scene right before that shows the bloody scar on what appears to be her stomach, where a bomb was surgically implanted into her. Then we see Big Boss pull what appears to be an earbud out of a hole in a guy's neck, and then reveal some pretty gross looking patches on the guy's abdomen. I don't know if this guy has bombs in him like Paz did, or if it is the cause of some kind of disease or what, but it looks pretty gross. Then we see some female versions of what we now know as the Skulls, which appear to be super soldiers who move in a creepy way, with jerky, unnatural motions, like Samara from The Ring. And they also have the ability to turn invisible, which looks very similar to the way that Quiet turns invisible. Perhaps Quiet was set to be turned into one of the Skulls, but escaped before she could be fully changed. Or perhaps they were genetically modified with new abilities, using her as a base to give them those abilities. Then we see Big Boss driving quickly away from these large stones that seem to be shooting up out of the ground. I don't know what's happening here, but this looks to be some kind of special ability that perhaps one of the bosses of the game has. I don't know who it is that has this ability, perhaps Quiet or maybe even Code Talker, since he is a Navajo Indian, and maybe this would symbolize him being one with nature, like a Native American. And maybe he has abilities allowing him to control the elements. I don't know, it's just a theory. Then we see some images of Skullface, Eli, Quiet with her magical mascara. I don't know what's up with that. Perhaps it works like the disappearing liver spots on the end in MGS3, and maybe she has similar abilities to him. They are both snipers after all. And then there's the Burning Phantom, who looks very much like Volgan from MGS3, which I will talk more about in a little bit. Then there is Ocelot spinning his trademark revolver, and a shot of a young Psycho Mantis, who appears to have bright red hair. Mantis is a redhead? Huh, didn't expect that. And we hear Kaz talking about how in Cypher's eyes, the greatest symbiotic parasite the world's ever known isn't microbial, it's linguistic. Language is what keeps the world together, and to free the world, you don't take men's lives, you take their tongues. And as he says this line, you see quiet, which seems to confirm that she indeed has had her tongue taken from her, making her unable to speak, making her quiet. Then we see a familiar scene with Eli jumping into the cockpit of a Metal Gear. A Metal Gear that looks very similar to Metal Gear Rex. I don't think it is Rex, but perhaps it is a modified Zeke from Peace Walker, since you were able to customize the look of Zeke in Peace Walker. Perhaps the same is said here. Then the trailer goes back to where it started, with Snake in the corpse-ridden halls of what appears to be Mother Base. I don't know if everything was taken from him again, or if somehow he was responsible for the great loss of life of his people, but he is obviously having an internal struggle with the events taking place. And then we see the soldiers of Diamond Dogs looking at a Metal Gear as Snake slowly walks away from it, and behind him we see Skullface. I don't know why Skullface is at what looks like Mother Base, but I know it can't be good. Maybe he is responsible for the death of Mother Base, or maybe, since it seems that Skullface appears out of nowhere behind Big Boss, maybe they are both two sides of the same coin. Maybe the Skullface in the Phantom Pain is an alternate personality within Big Boss, whom is the true reason for Big Boss's transformation into a demon. Maybe Skullface is the true villain within Big Boss. I don't know. It's just another theory, but it looks pretty possible to me. Then the trailer ends with Big Boss looking into a mirror, while the sounds of gunfire can be heard outside. He has a demonic look, and he is upset. Probably because all of his soldiers are dead, perhaps even by his own hand. And he then smashes the mirror in disgust. Maybe he can't look at himself because of the horrors that he had committed. Then the trailer ends with another look at what appears to be Eli, and the camera turns to show his twin. As Kaz says, Les enfants terribles, Zero called it, which pretty much confirms that these two twins are Eli and David, or Liquid and Solid, the twin snakes. And that was the end of the first trailer. The second trailer starts showing some scenes at Mother Base and some battle scenes. Then it shows a look at the larger Metal Gear and some smaller Metal Gears like the ones shown in previous trailers. We see a look of a little fight between Snake and Quiet, and a little interaction between Skullface and Huey. Then we get a quick glimpse of the burning Phantom, who looks very much like Vogan, with the bandolier across his chest, very much like the one Vogan wore in MGS3. And we see a hovering, young Psycho Mantis behind him. Perhaps this is a hallucination created by Psycho Mantis, which is a theory that many people have had since the debut of the Phantom Pain, with a similar scene in the hospital, with Psycho Mantis floating up through the ceiling, followed by an explosion, and the very first look at the burning Phantom. Then the trailer ends with Quiet shooting the cherry off of Big Boss's cigar. Perhaps she cares about Big Boss's health. No smoke for you! These trailers revealed quite a bit, and I am even more excited for MGS5 now more than ever, and I can't wait for the game to come out on September 1st. This has been Doughboy with Hardcore Academy. Peace out.